Much for waking up with us on Fox and Friends this morning on this Sunday morning. Let's get right to the Casey Anthony murder trial we've been talking about. The closing argument set to take place later this morning in Orlando.
Day.
It is. This is a big day.
All right, so let's start with the defense. What can they do? Is there anything?
Thanks,
Let's
Anna.
switch now to talk a little politics. Senator Marco Rubio, down from Florida, extremely popular young man. He is
Saturday radio address, of course, he also reiterated what he had said on Wednesday. So the narrative is unfolding now, and you're starting to see that. Shona Goldberg writing a piece the other day about this, saying he started to see this class warfare narrative playing out. Marco Rubio had this to say about President Obama's apparent class warfare stance. Take a listen.
the vice presidential nominee in 2012. Meanwhile, the presidential field getting even more crowded on Saturday. I think we're now up to 10 running for the Republican nomination.
I have lost
this
count.
one, though, you may not have.
For our troops on this 4th of July weekend, and you can go to Facebook and the Support Our Troops there link, and you can join up and become a part of that group as well. So
That's
thanks.
great. Yeah, and happy 4th of July to all of our troops serving overseas. And imagine this, folks, if you were a family member of one of those troops.
About the day in New York City, okay? Thanks, Dave.
Half an hour. I wonder where Dave went to. He comes back in. I'm like, something smells like mesquite in here. Who is that? Oh, that's Briggs.
2-minute segment. I come back 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
And you said they've created a cologne that smells like bacon?
It's for men and women.
Oh, I think that women should wear it because every man I know loves bacon.
I got an idea. What we'll do is we'll have you spray it on. We'll have you walk down 5th Avenue and see if anyone even notices you.
Done.
Could be the dress, could be the scent.
Sure, that wouldn't work. All right, let's talk about politics. We talked about in the open there, Ainsley, you talked about Michelle Bachmann on her bus. Her bus rolls on into Iowa, and ahead of that key GOP straw poll, we're
hurry to raise the debt ceiling. Those talks continue as the president again sticks to August 2nd as a final deadline, but he needs this legislation to be prepared by July 22nd in order to avert some of the economic catastrophe we're talking about. And who's getting involved in this? Not as much the current, but the former president, now Bill Clinton, getting in the game.
And here's someone who knows some historical context. Remember that famous government shutdown? Who ended up paying the price? Republicans. Sticking points, right? Because that deficit commission, President Obama sort of didn't listen to them in the beginning.
Exactly.
But one of their things, whether it's Alice Rivlin or Erskine Bowles or anybody else on that,
Which the Democrats
neither of
don't
them are
wanna
talking
touch.
about.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. The Republicans have said absolutely not. We're not voting for it if they're tax increases.
Yeah.
That's why they haven't gotten anything done. Let us know what you think about it. Friends at foxnews.com. We're going to continue to talk about that this morning.
And now for the rest of your headlines. Closing arguments set to begin in the Casey Anthony trial this morning.
This doesn't outrage you. I think this perhaps it should outrage all Americans. Harvard has just released a new study about 4th of July parades, and it turns out
they are celebrating the 4th of July, and let's tell
and the reason they're doing this is because they're actually supporting the troops by doing this. So you get the Captain America culotta. Dave, we're not going to have any camera operators if you feed them donuts. They're going to be gone.
And it's a mixture. You have all the different flavors. You know, normally if you get an icy, it's one flavor. You get all 3 in this.
So what you need to do is you can go to Facebook. They're going to honor the military there. They're doing a thing called America's Super Soldiers, like Captain America. And I was a comic book fan, of course, growing up. Still am. Don't hate to admit that sometimes. Captain America, the new movie comes out.
That's great.
Our thanks to Duncan for now we don't have any camera operators.
And they brought in coffee this morning, too. Their coffee is my favorite. It's delicious.
It's fantastic.
Thanks,
Duncan.
Duncan.
That. All right, folks, an interesting sleep study out this weekend for all of you folks that work so hard all week long and sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. Here's
you
the
wouldn't know
bad
anything
news.
about that, would you?
No.
Being a dad and working
Here's
a
the
morning
bad
show.
news. You can't just catch up as you thought on the weekend. You can't just get 2 solid good nights of sleep and reset. You need a lot more than that.
Yeah, because we told you even yesterday.
That they've seen there. My family's down in the South, and it's just scorchers every day.
Dave said they were out in there in bikinis, Rick, on the ski slopes.
All right, not a bad 4th of July, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Good way to
Especially
celebrate.
for the spectators.
Exactly, or for the...
Out though, I love the smell of barbecue. When they busted out this new cologne, though.
Yeah, you're not a fan.
Do you know the movie Anchorman when they get out the?
Oh right.
Was it Sex Panther or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was kind of like that. There were people.
It's barbecue.
The scene.
It's barbecue smell. That's what the spray.
They
is.
sold out of it. They
that's
said
a
they had to
disservice to
reorder.
barbecue.
Yeah, they were selling out of it.
To be honest with you, I didn't
Funny,
notice any difference from your normal scent. You always smell like barbecue, so I didn't notice. Let's talk about politics this morning because Senator Marco Rubio is talking for the first time in a while. We haven't heard much from him as everyone else has thrown their hat in the ring and had a discussion about President President Obama and what's going on with the debt ceiling. Well, President yesterday in the Saturday radio, I'm combining the two of them, Saturday radio address had this to say, and then we'll hear from Rubio in a second.